Let me put the.
All right, we're going in.
We're getting ready. Are you ready?
Phone far away, just in case.
What did she say?
I'm ready.
All right, great.
Dun, 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 dun. Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. If you just joined us, you're just in time. I'll tell you why you're just in time. We have a very, very, very special guest joining us on the show today. Rodas is not here with us. He's on holiday, but we have a very special guest. She's been here with us on the show prior to this time. And of course, today we're going to be talking about career transitioning. So if you're out there, you're looking to leave your current position and, transition into another role, a bigger role, a better role.
Yes.
We've got all the tips for you. So feel free to be a part of our conversation on the show today. Don't forget, you can reach out to us with questions on WhatsApp or just call the studio lines. On WhatsApp, it's 0809-444-0981.
Yes, indeed. So today on the show, we're having a special guest all the way from South Africa. She's no stranger to the show. It's Vumile Msweli. She's the founder and CEO of Hesed Consulting in South Africa, and she's joining us live via Zoom. And we're going to be discussing career transitioning with the context of with COVID, leaving so many people unemployed and forced to try their hand at completely new careers. How can they begin their career, transitioning journey? And Vumile is here to shed some light on how best to transition, in this new times. Everyone wants to be tech bros. Vumile, welcome to the show.
Hey,
thank you so much for having me. Hello from what is supposed to be a warm Durban, but it's actually rather chilly.
Well, it's all thanks to climate change as usual. Yeah.
But Vumile, welcome to the show. Good to have you here once again. And Lagos, you're welcome to the show once again. So please jump in and ask all your questions, or rather send all your questions into Vumile. She'll be more than happy to respond to every single one of them. So Vumile, let's just dive right into it, shall we? Hello,
let's go.
Okay.
All right, let's do that.
So I'd like to.
Hello, I can hear you. Let's do just that.
Definitely. Let's talk about this. What is career transitioning?
So career transitioning is being in between where you are and where it is that you're wanting to be, right? It's being in between the role you currently find yourself or the state you currently find yourself and where it is that you're wanting to be. And most of the time when we talk career transitions, a lot of us thinking, I'm leaving my industry, I'm going to stop being an attorney and now I'm going to run an NGO. But there are various types of career transitioning. There's interfirms. So you could be in your current organization working in the marketing department, wanting to transition into IT within the same firm. There's also inter-industry transitions. Where you're saying, listen, I love telecommunications, but as opposed to working for one telecommunications company, I'm going to work for another. And then of course there's sector transitions where you're saying I'm done completely with this type of discipline. I want to go to a brand new sector whilst retaining your expertise. So that could be, for example, you're in IT in financial services and you move to IT within the telecommunication space. And then of course what is very, very popular is occupational transitions. This is when you say, listen, I've been a doctor my entire life, but now I'm going to go be a full-time makeup artist, where your occupation fundamentally changes.
Oh wow, that last bit though, that one got me there, But yeah, thank you so much for that. I've got a few more questions, Judith.
So I wanted to ask.
One of my coaching clients actually did that. She was a medical doctor.
And she switched to makeup.
She completely switched to makeup. She now owns an aesthetics beauty company where all she does is makeup and Botox, not just medicine.
Wow. And that's a lot of money. That fetches a lot of money, so I hear, especially when it comes to estheticians and all of that. They make a lot of money with cosmetics and Botox and fillings and fillers and everything else. So much money.
A lot of money.
All right. So what are some challenges? What are some of the challenges in changing careers that one would sort of expect when you decide to switch your career roles, your career path?
So there are a number of challenges that we can take a look at. The first is, do you have the skill set required to move from one transition to another? Okay. The second is, are you going to completely surrender your expertise that has served you in good stead in your prior career? Or is it something that you can leverage, which a lot of people forget about in saying, oh, okay, so for example, for several years, I worked within the banking sector, but the skills I acquired in the banking sector could be repurposed. How can I repurpose those in order to make myself more competitive in my new said career? Those are some of the things that a lot of people don't think about. And then, of course, the biggest challenge is, Vumi, am I going to lose money? I don't have experience in this. So am I potentially going to leave money at the table and forfeit what I could be making in my existing career? So those are some of the challenges a lot of people have to think about. And then, of course, even beyond the skills is, do you have the academic qualifications?
Yes.
Will your desired next step even consider you as a potential candidate?
Hmm.
All right. Well, that's actually one way to look at it. Will your academics qualify you for the next role that you want to do? I imagine that if you're trying to play a role in a space where you need to be qualified, that means you might have to go back to school for that kind of thing. But Vumi, I'd like to ask you this though: how do you go about moving careers? Because you've talked about the steps, but then again, how do you go about it? How does an individual just wake up one morning and then say, okay, you know what, I want to transition, so how do I go about this?
The first is looking at where it is that you're wanting to be. So you have a career destination that you have in mind. Once you've determined that career destination, what exposure can you give yourself to that career destination? A lot of time, how we think the work is versus how the work really is are two fundamentally different things. So let's say, I remember when I wanted to be an attorney, I spent time in an attorney's office to say, is this actually what I wanted? In my mind, I thought it was going to be a fantastic power suits and going to court. When I realized, it's a lot of paperwork, it wasn't for me. So it's making sure that the exposure you have resonates with where it is that you're wanting to be. A good place to do this is in your current employer. If you're fortunate enough to work for a multinational, give yourself that exposure. That's the first step. The second step is then looking at a gap analysis between where you are and where you're wanting to be. What do you need? Is it the academic qualifications? Is it the networks? Is it the skills? Is it the relationships? What do you need to get to where it is that you're wanting to be? Identifying that is critical, and then go about putting together your career transition strategy. And of course, your strategy can be long-term. So I know with myself and my own, when I started my corporate career, I had a 10-year plan to become a full-time entrepreneur. So I was transitioning over a 10-year period. So the skills I was looking at in my actual day-to-day work, I was acquiring with my career transition strategy in place.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Don't forget, if you just joined us, it's Personal Finance today. And of course, we have a very special guest in the studio. We're talking about career transitioning, and you can also be a part of our conversation. Please send in your messages to 0809-444-0981. Vumile Msweli, founder and CEO of Hesed Consulting in South Africa, is our very special guest, and we're having conversations via Zoom.
As well, we're also streaming live on YouTube, so go to our YouTube channel and catch us live. Catch our very beautiful faces today. This wonderful afternoon, that's what it is, or evening for some people. Join us live. We're on YouTube. Is at Smooth 981 FM. That is Smooth 981.fm.
Okay, so Vumile, we've talked about how to move careers, and we've also talked about the challenges involved. But let's talk about pay cuts, right? So I'm transitioning from maybe being a broadcaster to being, I don't know, something different entirely. Do I have to take a pay cut? A politician,
That's a good one.
So do I need to take a pay cut?
That's a very good question, right? So it's you in that, what I call the liminal period between where you're certain of your experience, but you're very uncertain as to how your future is going to look like.
Yeah.
So the first thing you need to be able to find out, and I love this, is if you are able to reach out to people in the recruitment space or people in the space you're wanting to be in to find out, what does the money look like? So, if you're a politician, usually it's a blank check that you will be making versus being a journalist.
Yeah.
So if you are now transitioning, you're wanting to say, okay, so I currently make 100,000. The average politician makes $1 million. How am I going to convince my potential next employer, this said political party, to pay me that $1 million? What are the skills I have as a broadcaster that will automatically translate? 1, public speaking. 2, being charismatic, engaging people. 3, I've got an existing following. So you look at where you're wanting to be and the skills you currently have that cover the requirements for the job you want. Don't come at it as a pure novice, right? Don't come at it as like, I've got no experience at all. Specifically, if you do have experience, what can you leverage and monetize? That's one way of looking at it. If, however, you're saying, I'm a journalist and now I want to be an orthopedic surgeon, you are going to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
Because that kind of work requires expertise you don't have. So always take a look at, if you're going to transition, I like to call it mini transitions. Transition from one space to another while you're acquiring the skills, and then also working on, let's say, the technical academic requirements. So you're doing med school perhaps in the evenings, and you start saying, oh, let me transition and work at a hospital radio station to give myself a little bit more exposure to that particular field. So that's a 2-prong approach that you can use. But in my personal opinion as a career coach, avoid getting a pay cut. Climbing back up is always difficult.
It's always difficult, and that's true. We need to take a break at this point. We're talking to Vumile Msweli. She is the CEO and founder of Hesed Consulting, and we're talking about career transitioning in this perilous times, even though I've been warned by Kayode not to say perilous, but
let's just say challenging times in the world.
Challenging times in the world. If you're out there and you're looking to switch roles or switch career lanes, this is the perfect time. So keep your dial on here. Send your questions to 0809-444-0981. We're also streaming live on YouTube. So go to YouTube. It's www.youtube.com/smooth981.
It's all about your finances made easy.
So that was easy.
Hey,
That's nice and easy, guys. You can just call me Vumi. It's really fine. Hey,
What you said?
what'd you say? We didn't get
you can
that.
call me Vumi.
Vumi.
Vumi,
All right, Vumi, no
yeah,
problem. We got
Vumi.
you. Okay, we'll call you before we get in now.
My eyes,
Nice.
I cannot see. My eyes are doing like shake. I cannot see.
Hey, but
Do you have any questions?
what'd you say now?
Do we have any questions?
Not yet. I'm still looking at the WhatsApp. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's not dropping.
We had some downtime a few days ago, so I think I don't know. There might be.
Yeah, the network has been really slow.
Okay.
But we're streaming live on YouTube and we have views on there. So
Awesome.
yeah. We're going back in 12 seconds. I don't think you took that. She took that number 3 question on. How do you go about moving careers? I don't think she took it. You did?
I did.
Let
Let me bring us in. You take
who
phone.
the fuck is this?
Are you ready, Vumi?
I'm ready.
All right, we're going back
So
in.
you just ask the 5th question. I'll bring us in. You ask the 5th question. Alrighty, welcome back. If you just joined us, this is the perfect time to be a part of the conversation. Welcome back. Smooth 98.1 is what you're listening to. My name is Kayode Baker. And of course, Judith, the TV is right next to me.
I'm here. I cannot see. I'm looking here. I literally cannot see.
We're streaming on YouTube, so you can catch a glimpse of our faces, and also catch a glimpse of our very special guest joining us via Zoom today. Her name is Vumile Msweli. Vumi, of course, she's the founder and CEO of Hesed Consulting in South Africa. We're talking career transitioning. So if you're looking to transition from what you're doing now to something else, well, this is the best time to be a part of our conversation.
Yes, indeed. Now, Vumile, before the break, we talked about, do you take a pay cut in your career transition, and you've advised against it. But I'm really curious, do you choose passion over purse, in transitioning in careers as well?
Ooh, that's always a good one, right? Like, do you follow your heart and say, I finally got the degree. I can do whatever I want. It's my passion. Forget the money. And I think my opinion's a little bit controversial because I am of the opinion that we live in Africa. So our reality is a little bit different. And the concept that passion versus purse is mutually exclusive is one I don't subscribe to. We live in a space where, we are in the gig economy. And I think you should be pushing your passion whilst also securing your purse. So what I'm saying in essence is whatever it is that you're passionate about, make it a side hustle. I'll use myself as an example. I'm passionate about career coaching. I'm passionate about assisting people with public speaking. I'm passionate about helping people position themselves in their career. For a long time, it was a passion project. I did it for 5 years as a side hustle. And then while still pushing, getting my purse and securing that bag, or getting the shmoney, as Cardi B would say, whilst working as an executive. And once my passion was at the point that it was matching my revenue that I was getting, then I transitioned. So for me, if possible, don't choose. They're not mutually exclusive. Do both. But if you do have to choose, I think it does depend on where you are in your life. When I decided to go full-time into my passion, I had no financial obligations. I could do what I wanted. I'd paid off one of my properties. I could do what I wanted. So the ramifications financially were not on anybody else to be a burden. So take a look at your own financial circumstances and say, is it worth the risk? And as I always say to all my clients wanting to go into entrepreneurship, however long you think it's going to take, how much money you think you're going to need, times it by 3. Because that is most likely going to be, that's going to be the reality, right? You think, oh, no, man, I'll get a client. I'll onboard everything. I'll be done within a year. It's most likely going to take 3 years. It's going to cost me about 2 million naira. It's going to probably cost you 6.
Oh, wow.
So that's a good way to hedge yourself when you are deciding which transition you're going to be making. If it's entrepreneurship, the rule of 3.
Rule of 3.
Wow.
All right, I hope you're paying close attention, Lagos. The rule of 3 is important in transitioning. But I love the part where you mentioned side hustles, right? So I'm going to put myself in the mix right now. I'm a part-time photographer, right? I like filmmaking on the side. So let's say, for the sake of arguments, in the coming years, I want to transition, into that career. What kind of plans do you think I should put in place?
Well, that's a great question. What kind of access do you have currently? And can you leverage your current access, meaning your current credibility, right? So you are in the world of radio. So you're already in the world of media. There's a certain credibility you have that people who could potentially open up photography doors for you are engaging you. So that's the first point, is use your existing access, your existing credibility to open doors for you in the future. That's one. The second is be comfortable with a little bit of pro bono work when starting off. You're not known for that side hustle. So what you're wanting to do is start building that client base, start building that credibility in your particular side hustle, and slowly transition from being known for what you're known for now to adding that to your repertoire of skills or tools. So mentioning it in conversation. And of course, I always use the 20 billboard. It takes us as human beings 20 times to drive through a billboard before we notice it and say,
wow.
oh, I didn't realize that that's an advert for this particular beer or this particular drink. The same is true for your new side hustle. So you're going to feel a little insecure and a little shy to say, oh, I'm also doing this, because they're thinking, they're going to think I'm a jack of all trades. Just know, for one person, you'll need to mention it at least 15 to 20 times before it really registers.
Oh, wow.
So be a little bit patient in that transitioning journey.
Vumi, before you talked about when you are going to transition from, in Kayode's case, from transitioning from photography, transitioning to photography full time, you probably might have to do jobs pro bono. But my question I'd like to ask is, in situations where you want to now go into it full time, you want to get money, sometimes it's really difficult. What advice would you give to people who are already doing those side hustle pro bono and now want to make money off it? It can be tough making that, because you now have clientele who know you for pro bono, they know you for doing things for them. How can you get them to start to pay for those services?
Oh, that's a very good question. Even when you're doing pro bono, always invoice. Always invoice, and then show that you're doing a donation. So let's say you're charging 15 million naira, you do an invoice of 15 million, a donation of 15 million, and then 0. So what you start doing is, over a period of time, I usually give my clients 6 months, then I start in as charging small fees, like transportation. Okay, we don't use foam anymore, but batteries. So you start charging incrementally from 0 to your cost. And then from your cost, then you start adding your margin. So never ever start in your pro bono work with zero. You must always invoice so they get accustomed to the fact that they are gaining. So by the time you're saying, oh, I usually do this for you pro bono, but unfortunately, I've got another commitment on that day. Can I please, at least reimburse myself with regards to the costs of executing this?
I like that.
So that way you take your clients on a journey with you and they transition with you.
Nice. But what are the benefits of career transitioning? A lot of people will still say they're so in their safety nets. They don't want to leave. It feels too good, but they are lusting to leave that safety net. What's his benefit to transition?
So the benefit for me is, of course, side hustles, more revenue. More revenue, more money. So getting more money is always a good thing. It also, in diversifying your revenue streams, it secures you and your long-term plans as an individual, right? Also the benefit of career transitioning is part of life. A lot of people always forget this, that the average human being will have 8 careers in their lifetime. So it's a part of life. And being in
Wait, say that slowly now. The average human being
will have 8 careers in their lifetime.
Can you explain it? Can you unwrap this?
All your interests and your hobbies? Is that what I'm trying to say? Yeah.
So what tends to happen is you start out in one career, you get an expertise, and you'll get a promotion. So you start out as an administrator, for example, and then you excel, and all of a sudden you find yourself now being in an operational space. That's transition number 1. Then you super excel, and you find yourself from operational to, let's say, an executive role. That's transition usually number 3. Then you find yourself saying, actually, like former American President George Bush, I've reached the top of the upper echelons. Now let me follow my passion. And now he's a painter. And that usually is then another transition. But what often happens in these 8 transitions are forced transitions. So what we're seeing during COVID, you get fired, you get retrenched. Life is happening
Furloughed.
Yeah, so things that you did not see coming. So in us knowing that these transitions are potentially coming, it allows us to be intentional in saying, before they say, sorry, madam, here's your letter, goodbye, what can I start putting in the pipeline that if I had to transition, I would at least be happier, more fulfilled, and earning more money. So these transitions are coming anyway, whether you plan them or not. So you'd rather be a little bit more intentional and be strategic in how you transition and where you transition to.
You know what they say? They say the master of jack of all trades is the master of none. But apparently that's not the full. Yeah, that you could be the master of all. Apparently that's what the full saying is. It's wonderful having you here. Just talking about the benefits and everything else. But I want to circle back to our third question here, just for those benefit of those just joining us. When you are transitioning, what are the steps that you advise that one takes in transitioning career roles? Careers in general.
So determine your career destination. So, and with that, you mean to get ready, prepare your job search tools, right? Have you updated your CV? Have you updated your LinkedIn to the job that will actually be the place you're wanting to be in? Then, of course, I like to have what I call a little hit list. What is my dream job career space? I even remember growing up, I just wanted to work for South African Airways so badly. I think it was those cute uniforms.
Yeah, I know.
So having that list of these are my job hit lists and places I want and organizations I'd like to work for, then starting to identify in essence career and path discovery. How am I going to get there? What is the gap between there and here? Well, who do I need? Do I need to get a career coach? Let me phone Vumi. Do I need to get a mentor? Do I need to actually register for an MBA? Or do I need to register for a public speaking course that can assist me? And then what do I have in my kitty right now? In my arsenal, do I have someone in that particular industry who can help guide me? Do I have someone with that particular skills that can help me leapfrog that learning? So, and then also, what do I have right now that next role requires? So I'm not having to take a big knock and a pay cut. I can repurpose my existing skills to catapult me to the career I actually want to be in whilst I transition.
Awesome.
Always with the solid thoughts
Awesome.
there and wonderful advice for me. It's always
Thank you
wonderful
so
having you
much.
on the show.
If you just joined
Thank
us,
you so
have
much.
missed a ton of great stuff. We've been talking all about career transitioning, but the best part of this is that you can also catch a recap on YouTube. Okay, so just get the details of all that we've discussed. By the way, we've had Vumile Msweli. She's the founder and CEO of Hesed Consulting in South Africa. And like I mentioned, we talked about career transitioning. So if you're looking to take that leap from this career to the next career, we highly recommend that you circle back and check out the YouTube video.
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, you can also keep in touch with Vumile on social media.
Yes,
How can they
Vumile,
find
yeah, absolutely. Vumi, go ahead.
So you can find me at Vumi Msweli Career Coach. Vumi spelled V-U-M-I, not Fumi. V-U-M-I. Msweli Career Coach. You'll find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as Instagram. I'm very good on Instagram, and I usually have live lessons every Monday on Instagram, except when there was a blackout.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're used to those type of things here in this part of the world, so no surprises there when it comes to blackout. Well, Vumi, as always, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you for
Always
having me. Stay safe.
You too. Stick around. More is coming up on the other side. It is still the Smooth Drive right here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. My name is Judith Atibi.
I'm Kayode Baker.
Do
Stay
not
with
touch
us.
your dial.